Behind the Vatican's ancient walls lies a ritual shrouded in more secrecy than the world's most classified intelligence operations. When a pope dies or resigns, 120 men in scarlet robes enter a sacred chamber where they will remain, cut off from the world, until they select God's representative on earth. One wrong move could cost them everything they've devoted their lives to achieve. In 1179, after 3 years of deadlocked deliberation to elect a pope, frustrated locals removed the roof of the papal residence, exposing cardinals to the elements. In 1271, officials went further, locking cardinals inside, reducing their food to bread and water, and eventually removing the building's entire roof. These desperate measures gave birth to the word conclave itself, from Latin meaning with a key. Today's conclave may no longer feature starvation tactics, but its rules remain among the most stringent and consequential in any global institution. The punishments, just as severe. Prepare to enter a world where one cardinal's whispered secret could result in immediate expulsion from the church they've served for decades. These are the 10 rules that cardinals must follow during the papal conclave, and why breaking number 3 guarantees automatic excommunication from the Catholic Church.
Before we delve in deeper, please take 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on similar videos. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Back to our discussion.
Rule number 1, the oath of secrecy. The conclave begins with each cardinal placing his hand on the book of Gospels to swear what might be Catholicism's most binding oath. We promise, pledge, and swear to observe with the greatest fidelity and with all persons secrecy regarding everything that in any way relates to the election of the Roman Pontiff, and regarding what occurs in the place of the election, directly or indirectly related to the results of the voting. We promise and swear not to break this secret in any way. This oath, codified in Pope John Paul II's 1996 Apostolic Constitution, Universi Dominici Gregis, carries the Church's most severe penalty, latae sententia excommunication, meaning automatic and immediate spiritual banishment. The cardinal becomes instantly cut off from the sacraments and the Catholic community without even requiring formal pronouncement. Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger, before becoming Pope Benedict XVI in 2005, declared as Dean of the College of Cardinals, "The Lord sees the heart, and none of us can escape his gaze." Cardinal Francis George, who participated in the 2013 conclave, later revealed how seriously cardinals take this oath, stating, "We were instructed that even our private journals must never record specific deliberations." Historical evidence suggests breaches have occurred. Italian journalist Lucio Brunelli published alleged voting tallies from the 2005 conclave, claiming Ratzinger received 84 of 115 votes on the 4th ballot. Vatican investigators never publicly identified a cardinal source, though many suspect information leaks came from non-cardinal support staff, who also took the oath. Notably, the oath of secrecy extends beyond the conclave itself. It binds cardinals for life. When Cardinal Mario Bergoglio was elected as Pope Francis in 2013, even the cardinals who voted for him couldn't legally confirm their ballot choices. Rule number 2, no phones, no internet, no escape. Whoever brings into the college any instrument whatsoever for recording, reproducing, or transmitting voices or images shall incur latae sententia excommunication. These words from Pope John Paul II's 1996 Conclave regulations transformed the 2013 and 2005 conclaves into technological fortresses. Cardinals today surrender not just their phones, but every electronic device capable of communication. The 2013 conclave featured unprecedented security measures, including signal jammers installed throughout the Sistine Chapel and Domus Sanctae Marthae electronics detection equipment, scanning cardinals and rooms. Dedicated Vatican security teams conducting multiple daily sweeps for hidden devices. A custom-built elevated floor in the Sistine Chapel, concealing anti-bugging equipment. Cardinal Timothy Dolan revealed after the 2013 conclave, "They took our phones, computers, tablets, anything with a chip or that could transmit. The isolation was complete." The journey from the Cardinals' residence to the Sistine Chapel occurs via sealed transport with no public access or visibility. This represents a dramatic evolution from earlier conclaves. In 1963, when Paul VI was elected, cardinals could still receive censored newspapers with non-conclave news. By 1978, during the conclave that elected John Paul II, telephone access was eliminated, but electronic sweeps were minimal. Cardinal Wilfrid Napier, who participated in both the 2005 and 2013 conclaves, noted the increasing stringency. In 2005, we were asked to surrender our phones. By 2013, they were actively searching for devices and installed technology to prevent any signal from entering or leaving. The seclusion extends beyond technology. Cardinals reside in the Domus Sanctae Marthae, but windows facing external areas are sealed. Their movements between residence and chapel happen via covered walkways with no external visibility. During Benedict XVI's 2013 resignation, the first papal resignation since 1415, these measures were reinforced to prevent even accidental information leakage. Rule number 3, the burned ballots. Perhaps no conclave tradition captures public imagination like the burning of ballots that produces the famous smoke signals from the Sistine Chapel chimney. This practice, however, serves a deadly serious purpose, ensuring complete voting secrecy and preventing future analysis of voting patterns. Each ballot must be burned immediately after counting. The process follows a meticulous protocol. The scrutineers, vote counters, pierce each ballot through the word "eligo" with a needle, thread them together, tie the ends of the thread, and place them in a receptacle. These ballots, along with any notes cardinals made during voting, are burned in a special stove installed in 1939 in the Sistine Chapel's northwest corner. The burning process has evolved significantly. Before 1939, simple burning of ballots with wet or dry straw, determining smoke color, 1939 to 1958. First specialized stove introduced during Pius XII's election, 1958 to 2005. Chemical packets added to ensure distinct smoke color, 2005. Electronic ignition system added after problematic gray smoke appeared during Benedict XVI's election, 2013. Complete redesign with separate smoke-generating device using cartridges containing black smoke, potassium, perchlorate, anthracene, sulfur, white smoke, potassium chlorate, lactose, pine rosin. Vatican chimney expert Ludovico Grani noted, "The 2013 system ensures unmistakable smoke signaling, learning from the 2005 confusion when initially gray smoke briefly misled observers. The ballot burning represents more than tradition. It's the single most critical secrecy measure. Any attempt to preserve ballots results in automatic excommunication. In 1996, Pope John Paul II clarified, all ballots are to be burned immediately after each vote or after the session, under pain of excommunication. During the controversial 1922 conclave that elected Pius XI, rumors persisted that Cardinal Secretary of State Pietro Gasparri had attempted to preserve vote tallies. While never proven, the allegations prompted stricter ballot control procedures that continue today, including having 3 separate cardinals verify complete ballot destruction. Rule number 4. Voting twice a day. Until someone cracks the conclave's voting schedule is relentless by design. A psychological and physical endurance test meant to break deadlocks through sheer persistence. The procedure follows a rigid timetable established in Pope Gregory XV's 1622 bull Aeterni Patris. Morning session, 2 ballots beginning at 9:30. a.m. afternoon session, 2 ballots beginning at 4:30 p.m. Each unsuccessful voting round followed by a brief break. No deliberation allowed during voting itself. Only silent prayer. This schedule continues without weekend breaks until a pope is elected. The psychological pressure of this regimen has proven effective throughout history. The 1963 conclave that elected Paul VI featured 6 ballots over 2 days, with Cardinal Giovanni Montini's support steadily growing. Cardinal Franz Koenig later revealed, by the 5th ballot, the momentum became unmistakable. The twice-daily rhythm created a palpable sense of inevitability. In 1978, the October conclave that elected John Paul II initially favored Italian candidates. According to Cardinal Koenig, who later discussed general voting patterns without revealing specific votes, Cardinal Karol Wojtyła gained momentum after 7 ballots, when Cardinal Giovanni Benelli's support stalled. The Polish cardinal secured the necessary votes on the 8th ballot. Most modern conclaves conclude relatively quickly. 1939, Pius X, 3 ballots, 1 day 1958, John the III. 11 ballots, 3 days 1963, Paul VI. 6 ballots, 2 days August 1978, John Paul Hor. 4 ballots, 1 day October 1978, John Paul II. 8 ballots, 2 days 2005, Benedict XVI. 4 ballots, 2 days 2013, Francis. 5 ballots, 2 days. Historically, however, conclaves could last much longer. The 1740 conclave that elected Benedict XIV required 255 ballots over 6 months. Following this, Pope Pius VI reformed voting rules to specify that after 34 unsuccessful ballots, approximately 13 days, cardinals might move to a simple majority, rather than the typical 2/3 requirement. Benedict XVI reverted to the 2/3 requirement in his 2007 Motu Proprio de Aliquibus Mutationibus. Cardinal George Pell, who participated in the 2013 conclave, later commented generally, "The twice-daily schedule creates mounting pressure. Many cardinals feel the weight of an expectant world, which drives consensus." Rule number 5, the forbidden name. Post-cardinals face strict prohibition against making pre-conclave agreements, forming voting blocs, or engaging in any form of campaigning. Practices collectively known as capitulations in church terminology. The Apostolic Constitution, Universi Dominici Gregis, paragraph 81, explicitly states, "The cardinal electors shall further abstain from any form of pact, agreement, promise, or other commitment of any kind which could oblige them to give or deny their vote to a person or persons. Any election determined to result from simony, trading votes for promises, is automatically invalid under church law." This prohibition has deep historical roots in some of the church's most controversial elections. In 1458, the conclave split between Cardinals Bessarion and Piccolomini, who became Pius II. Historical records from Papal Master of Ceremonies Burkhard indicate an allegedly simoniacal agreement where Cardinal d'Estouteville promised benefits to supporters, prompting reform. The most famous modern case occurred in 1903. Cardinal Mariano Rampolla was leading in votes when Cardinal John Puzina announced the Austrian Emperor Franz Joseph I's veto, jus exclusivae, against him. This secular interference so outraged the college that Cardinal Giuseppe Sarto, who had received minimal votes initially, was elected as Pius VI. His first papal act formally abolished secular influence in papal elections. In 2005, 4 cardinals, later identified as Carlo Maria Martini, Achille Silvestrini, Murphy O'Connor, and Walter Casper, reportedly met at Villa Nazareth before the conclave to discuss Cardinal Bergoglio as an alternative to Cardinal Ratzinger. While not violating conclave rules as no formal agreement was made, this St. Gallen group exemplified the fine line between appropriate discussion and forbidden coordination. Cardinal Francis George later wrote generally about pre-conclave dynamics. Discussing candidates' qualifications differs from orchestrating votes. The line between legitimate evaluation and improper influence remains delicate. Pope Francis addressed this rule in 2021, strengthening prohibitions against campaign-like behavior by clarifying that discussing candidates' merits was permitted, but organized vote solicitation remained forbidden. Rule number 6, Latin or bust. In an age when fewer than 1% of Catholics understand Latin, the conclave stubbornly maintains it as the exclusive official language of all formal proceedings, a tradition dating to the 13th century that shows no signs of modernization. All official conclave documents and procedures must be conducted in Latin. The opening oath, ego en cardinalis en spondeo, voveo ac juro. Ballot papers display eligo in summum pontificem, I elect as supreme pontiff. The dean's question to the elected pope, acceptus ne electionem de te canonice factam in summum pontificem? The new pope announces his chosen name, nomen mihi impono. The famous balcony announcement, annuntio vobis gaudium magnum habemus papam. Cardinal Jorge Medina Esteves, who made the Habemus Papam announcement in 2005, later explained, Latin remains the Church's official language, transcending national divisions. In the conclave, no cardinal's native language receives preference, placing all on equal footing. The Latin requirement creates practical challenges. During the 2013 conclave, Cardinal Prosper Grech delivered the pre-voting meditation in Italian rather than Latin, requiring special permission. The 2007 instruction Summorum Pontificum reinforced Latin's privileged position in church liturgy and official proceedings. Cardinal Wilfrid Napier noted after the 2005 conclave, many cardinals required whispered translations of procedural instructions. Several from Africa and Asia struggled with the Latin ballot format, though formal assistance is prohibited. Cardinal Timothy Dolan revealed that during informal discussions between voting sessions in 2013, multilingual cardinals served as translators with English, Italian, and Spanish becoming common languages for non-official communication. This linguistic tradition creates a link to conclaves throughout history. The 1294 conclave that elected Celestine V used identical Latin formulas still employed today. The 1559 conclave featuring 159 cardinals. Cardinal Carlo Carafa's attempted fraud was documented in Latin. The 1903 conclave that rejected Emperor Franz Joseph's veto recorded proceedings in the same Latin terminology. Used in 2013, Latin remains non-negotiable in conclave proceedings despite the practical challenges, symbolizing the Church's historical continuity across 2 millennia. Rule number 7, the extra omnes lockdown. The most dramatic moment of the conclave begins when the master of papal ceremonies declares extra omnes, everyone out, a command that initiates the absolute seclusion of the cardinal electors. This ritual follows precise steps codified in the Ordo Rituum Conclavis, Order of Conclave Rituals. The papal master of ceremonies calls extra omnes from the Sistine Chapel entrance. All non-cardinals except the master of ceremonies exit. The master reads the oath requirement to cardinals. The dean of the college leads the oath. Each cardinal, touching the Gospels, swears to follow conclave rules. The master exits, leaving only eligible cardinals. The ceremonial locking of doors occurs from both inside and out. The 2013 conclave featured Monsignor Guido Marini, pronouncing the famous words on March 12th at 5:33 p.m. local time. Swiss guards stationed outside the sealed doors then withdrew to the perimeter, maintaining the ceremonial seal. This tradition dates to the tumultuous 13th century conclaves, 1241. Romans imprisoned cardinals in the Septizodium building with inadequate facilities to force an election 1268 to 1271. The nearly 3-year Viterbo conclave, where city magistrates progressively reduced food, removed the roof, and confined cardinals to a single room with minimal provisions, 1294. Following the Viterbo experience, Pope Celestine V formalized conclave isolation. The physical lockdown has evolved significantly. Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger, before his election as Benedict XVI, explained, "Modern conclaves no longer feature physical imprisonment. However, the spiritual and communications isolation remains complete." In 2005, footage revealed the specific locking mechanism, a traditional key locking from the outside and an electronic security system activated from within. Vatican Security Chief Domenico Gianni supervised both physical and electronic sealing mechanisms. Modern conclaves employ significant security measures beyond ceremonial locks. Swiss Guard and Vatican Gendarmerie form perimeters around conclave areas. Electronic surveillance monitors external approaches. Signal jamming equipment prevents electronic communication. Periodic sweeps check for security breaches. Cardinal Roger Mahoney described the 2013 atmosphere. "When those doors closed and we heard the lock engage, a profound silence fell. That moment transforms theoretical isolation into physical reality." Rule number 8, the scrutineers' spy squad. The conclave's voting integrity rests entirely on 9 randomly selected cardinals who form a temporary election commission, ensuring no fraud or manipulation occurs during the papal selection process. These 9 officers, selected by lot before the first ballot, consist of 3 scrutineers, vote counters, 3 revisers, vote verification, 3 inflammatory, collectors of ballots from sick cardinals. The scrutineers follow an elaborate procedure designed to prevent tampering. Each scrutineer draws ballots individually from the urn. The last scrutineer reads each name aloud. Each scrutineer independently records every vote. The final scrutineer pierces each ballot through the word eligo with a needle. Ballots are threaded together to prevent substitution. All 3 sets of records must match perfectly. If any discrepancy occurs, that entire ballot is invalidated and repeated. This system prevented fraud during the tumultuous 1559 conclave, when scrutineers detected counterfeit ballots favoring Cardinal Carpi. Historical records by Vatican Secretary Monsignor Angelo Massarelli document that vigilant scrutineers invalidated these forged votes, potentially preventing an illegitimate papacy. Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger served as a scrutineer during the August 1978 conclave that elected John Paul II. While never discussing specific votes, he later noted generally about the process. The system of triple verification makes fraud virtually impossible in modern conclaves. The position rotates for each ballot through random selection, preventing any cardinal from serving multiple consecutive terms in these roles. This rotation system, formalized in Gregory XV's 1621 bull Aeterni Patris, remains largely unchanged today. During the 2013 conclave, the scrutineers' table was positioned directly beneath Michelangelo's Last Judgment fresco, a deliberate symbolic placement. Cardinal Tarcisio Bertone later remarked generally, "Counting votes beneath Christ's judgment scene reminds us of the eternal consequences of our temporal decisions." The scrutineer system represents one of the conclave's most effective accountability measures. Cardinal Christoph Schönborn noted after participating in both the 2005 and 2013 conclaves, "The transparency within the secrecy creates absolute confidence in the results. Every cardinal watches the scrutineers, who themselves are watched by revisers." Rule number 9. No cardinal over 80 allowed. One of the conclave's most consequential modern reforms came in 1970 when Pope Paul VI issued Ingrava Centum Aetatem, barring cardinals over 80 from participating in papal elections. This age restriction, reinforced in John Paul II's 1996 Universi Dominici Gregis, dramatically altered conclave dynamics. The reasoning, as stated by Paul VI, the great burden of electing the Roman pontiff should not be entrusted to men who, because of advanced age, may not have sufficient vigor to deal with such a weighty matter. This restriction has significantly impacted recent conclaves. 1978, August, 15 cardinals excluded by age. 1978, October, 19 cardinals excluded by age. 2005, 66 cardinals excluded by age. 2013, 90 cardinals excluded by age. The 2013 conclave demonstrated the provision's full impact. Cardinal Walter Kasper turned 80 just 9 days before the conclave began, narrowly qualifying to participate. Cardinal Lubomir Husar missed the cutoff by 5 days, becoming ineligible to vote, despite his influential position as head of the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church. Some notable exclusions have created controversy. Cardinal Alfredo Ottaviani, influential conservative, excluded from both 1978 conclaves. Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger's brother Georg, excluded from 2005 conclave, while his younger brother was elected Cardinal Joseph Tomko, who turned 80 just 1 week before Benedict XVI's resignation was announced in 2013. The age restriction has transformed the college's voting demographics. Before 1970, cardinals often participated well into their 90s, creating a more conservative electoral body. Statistical analysis shows the average age of cardinal electors dropped from 72 years in 1958 to 64 years in 2013. Cardinal Walter Casper defended the restriction. The physical and mental demands of the conclave require stamina. The 8 daily trips between residence and chapel, multiple voting sessions, and intense discussions test younger cardinals' endurance. The exclusion doesn't affect only participation. Cardinals over 80 lose their curial positions automatically, reshaping Vatican governance. Pope Francis modified but maintained this age limit in his 2022 Apostolic Constitution, Predicate Evangelium. Paul VI's age limitation remains perhaps his most enduring and consequential reform to papal elections, structurally ensuring generational transition in church leadership. Rule number 10, the acceptance trap. The conclave's final and perhaps most psychologically intense moment occurs when the newly elected pope must immediately accept or reject his election, a decision made within minutes under extraordinary pressure. When a cardinal receives the required 2/3 majority, currently 80 of 120 votes, the dean of the college approaches him and asks, "Acceptus ne electionem de te canonice factum in summum pontificem?" Do you accept your canonical election as supreme pontiff? This moment features no deliberation period, no consultation, and no private reflection time. The cardinal must respond immediately before the assembled college. The historical record reveals various responses. 1978. Cardinal Albino Luciani, John Paul I, reportedly responded, "May God forgive you for what you have done in my regard." 2005. Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger, Benedict XVI, answered, "Accepto in nomine Domini." I accept in the name of the Lord. 2013. Cardinal Jorge Bergoglio Francis allegedly stated, "I am a great sinner, but trusting in the mercy and patience of our Lord Jesus Christ in suffering, I accept." If the elected cardinal accepts, he immediately becomes pope, gaining full universal jurisdiction over the Catholic Church even before the famous white smoke appears. If he declines, a rare but not unprecedented occurrence, the voting process resumes immediately. Notable historical refusals include 1073. Hildebrand initially refused before accepting as Gregory VII, 1277. St. Bonaventure declined the papacy, 1406. Cardinal Angelo Carrere initially rejected before accepting as Gregory XII, 1550. Cardinal Pole reportedly declined the papacy when 1 vote short of election. Cardinal Giovanni Bonelli allegedly received sufficient votes in the 1st October 1978 conclave, but declined, leading to Cardinal Wojtyła's election as John Paul II on the subsequent day, though these reports remain unconfirmed due to conclave secrecy. The acceptance includes selecting a papal name, a tradition dating to 533 when a cardinal named Mercury became John II, deeming a pagan god's name inappropriate for a pope. The chosen name often signals the pope's intentions or honors predecessors. Benedict XVI honored both Benedict XV and Saint Benedict of Nursia Francis. First use of this name, honoring Saint Francis of Assisi. John Paul I and II honored their immediate predecessors. Cardinal Francis George described the atmosphere during this moment in the 2005 Conclave. The silence was deafening as Cardinal Ratzinger considered the question. That brief pause contained the weight of 2,000 years of church history. Conclusion: these 10 rules have governed the election of the world's most influential spiritual leader for centuries. A fascinating blend of ancient tradition and modern security worthy of a political thriller. From the automatic excommunication threatening oath breakers to the elaborate ballot burning ritual that captivates global attention, the conclave remains deliberately archaic in an age of instant communication. As Cardinal Ratzinger wrote before becoming Benedict XVI, the conclave's elaborate rules serve a single purpose: creating space for the Holy Spirit to work without worldly interference. When white smoke next rises from the Sistine Chapel, remember the extraordinary secret world behind those sealed doors, where 120 men engage in a process unchanged in its essentials since medieval times, electing the leader of 1.3 billion Catholics worldwide through rituals most Catholics will never witness firsthand. The next time a pope is selected, whether years or decades from now, these same 10 rules will once again govern the world's oldest continuous electoral process, an enduring testament to the Catholic Church's unique blend of tradition and secrecy in selecting God's representative on earth.